UFC bantamweight contender Sean O'Malley says he plans on testing free agency once his UFC contract expires next year. O'Malley is one of the top young bantamweights in the sport right now, as well as one of the biggest stars in the sport. However, he has continually fought lower-ranked competition, with one of the reasons he is doing so is he believes he should get paid more money to fight ranked fighters in headlining fights. O'Malley is happy to be a member of the UFC roster, but he also hopes the company pays him more money going forward. Speaking to Ariel Helwani's The MMA Hour, O'Malley admitted that he is hoping to get a big money offer in free agency. O'Malley said he still has a few fights left on his UFC contract, but once it's over, he plans on testing free agency and seeing what's out there. I could probably renegotiate a contract right now with the UFC, but then I don't get offers from other places. And I'm not necessarily looking to leave. I'm not necessarily looking to go other places, but we'll see what other opportunities present themselves. I really do plan on staying with the UFC. I think I belong in the UFC, but also if I'm going to get offered twice as much money to go do something else, I love boxing, we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I love the UFC. They've been nothing but great to me, and I think after this contract is up, I don't think they'll have an issue paying me what I think I deserve. But we might be on a completely different mindset there. They might not think I'm worth $500,000 or whatever the number is. I've been on like 5 consecutive pay-per-views. On a recent episode of the Below the Belt podcast, Brendan Schaub reacted to Mayhem Miller's recent arrest. He had the following to say: "Yeah, it's sad to see. Mayhem had the world by the balls, dude. After his loss to Bisping, it's all been downhill from there. I like Mayhem too, man. It's just a shame. He's a really good guy. I think it's a combination of CTE and him being just a little bit crazy. He could never find his way after fighting. And when you mix that on top of probably drug use, on top of CTE, the CTE isn't helping. But you can't just blame it on that. It's such a shame, man." UFC welterweight superstar Jorge Masvidal shares his prediction for the upcoming Nick Diaz vs. Robbie Lawler 2 fight at UFC 266. Diaz and Lawler meet next Saturday night in a 5-round non-title welterweight bout at UFC 266. It's the long-awaited rematch between the two fan favorites after Diaz knocked Lawler out with punches back in 2004. 17 years later, and these two are now set to face off again in a fight that doesn't really feature any title implications considering both Diaz and Lawler are not ranked fighters, but they are both huge names in the sport. So it's no wonder that Masvidal recently said that he would like to face the winner of that fight. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Masvidal was asked who he thinks will win the Diaz vs. Lawler 2 fight. If you ask Masvidal to pick the winner, he says he'd put his money on Diaz. Very interested in this outcome, of course. Love Robbie Lawler. We were teammates for about 4 years, one of the better guys in the sport, just a stand-up dude, great fighter. I don't think he's the same fighter that he was 4 years ago. I haven't seen Nick Diaz fight in 8 years, so this fight to me is like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I haven't seen Nick fight. I didn't know if he was trying to stay in the best shape or not during these 8 years. 8 years is a lot of time to be sitting on the bench. So I want to say that Robbie hasn't been looking like himself. He hasn't been looking the greatest in his fights. This is a tough one for me to call, but if I was going to put money on it, I'd probably lean toward Nick. Former UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw admitted that he lied to the referee during the recent Cory Sandhagen bout. Dillashaw and Sandhagen fought for 25 minutes to a narrow split decision back in July that the judges ultimately gave to the former champ. Speaking to Submission Radio following the fight, Dillashaw admitted there was a chance that the fight could have been stopped because he had an injury to his eye that meant he had vision problems. According to Sandhagen, however, he lied to the referee and told him that he could still see fine. "I guess camp kind of prepared me to be able to deal with injuries in the fight, I guess. Because I had to kind of bury my injuries deep down during fight camp, and I had to definitely do it during the fight. And then, let alone getting open in the second round, my eye, having to lie to the ref and tell him I can see. I just didn't want the fight to get stopped. The doctor came in and I was like, yeah man, I got it, don't worry, I can see. And at the time I couldn't. So walking out, I was sure to take his wipey and I tried to wipe my eye out even more. And they told me I wasn't able to do that. So just kind of had to tough it out really, to be honest." The win over Sandhagen puts Dillashaw in the upper echelon of the UFC bantamweight division. He is currently healing up following the war with Sandhagen, but when Dillashaw returns to the octagon, he could fight either the winner of UFC 267's Aljamain Sterling vs. Petr Yan, or potentially face fellow former UFC champ Jose Aldo in a #1 contender bout.